Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Thursday, March 13, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having a reverse aging health call and all the rest tomorrow night at after 9:15 p.m. Eastern. Make sure that you're in a comfortable position with no outside distractions, that you're relaxed into your body, as still as you can be, focused on your breath rising and falling. This enlightened life is not just about cultivating a deeper relationship with our mind. It's about getting beyond the mind. When we master our mind, we no longer live in fear. How would that be? When we master our mind, we no longer live in fear. When the mind falls from its altar, we rise to the summit. As we learn how to drop into a perpetual state of surrender, allowing the greater intelligence of this universe to run this entire show, we see how every precious moment in this life has this bigger universal force behind it all. In seeing this, the mind totally gives up, and we realize that we have become the perfection that exists within everything. With enough awareness, we can totally stop the judgmental mind habit and wake up from the addiction. Then we'll know what real freedom is like, and nothing else will satisfy more than this freedom. This true freedom is free from all forms of pain. It is the greatest experience of this life. This means the mind can slip back into clinging to delusion and desire. And you don't. The mind might crave wine and yearn to be free, yet you know that you are the one behind it who is actually already free. You remain the watcher, deeply detached and liberated from the mind's antics. It's the greatest, deeply eternal loving of all when you realize that you are not your mind. That's a huge leap. When, as we go on this journey of total liberation, enlightenment from our ego mind, our thoughts, we discover that we are not the mind. The more we practice welcoming judgments, the easier it becomes to see the mind and how to be free from it. When we can always see the good, the bad, and the balanced meeting of the two, then the struggle of life doesn't matter so much anymore. The mind soon gets trained to only see balance and perfection. It automatically observes how the good is in the bad and the bad is in the good, and how these two worlds always collide, and there is nothing left but freedom. There is just the pure observer watching and witnessing it all. Rely on the essence of your pure wisdom mind, not on judgmental perceptions. Rely on the spirit and meaning of the teachings, not on the words. That came from a Buddhist teaching. The enlightenment judgment free mind is always available. It shows up when we release the need to be right and instead create more room to be happy. Happiness through inner peace becomes the goal, instead of striving and focusing on surviving this life, which most of us are caught up in, with inner peace as the priority. The dualistic mind soon becomes free from attachment, desire, resistance, and contraction. We surrender to the heart and can actually feel deeply okay with whatever manifests and does not manifest in our lives. So it's like if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And you're good with that. That's on top of that. Say, a lot of people will say that and they're not good with it. An enlightened mindset is not hard to achieve. It just takes the most deeply rooted devotion to ourselves. How devoted are you to yourself? We must choose to be willing to know ourselves intimately and never stray from exploring further about who and what we are. This exploration leads to a profound honoring of the sadness in all things in life. We start honoring that this balanced state of perfection is everywhere. And we have nothing to complain about to try to change in ourselves anymore. Instead, we start worshiping everything around us. We see everything and everyone as the divine in physical form. We bow down to this very ordinary life and call it God. We look into a blade of grass and understand how it's just as sacred and important as our entire galaxy. To remain in a judgment-free, enlightened mind every day, we must choose to look at what cannot be looked at and reveal and revel in being totally real with our pain. When we wish to remain liberated, we must choose to be willing to see where we are still in prison, fighting to get out. And as long as we are fighting, we are still in prison. And we are still not truly free. So we must choose to always be aware of the slippery mind and never allow the sneaky judgments to take over us again. To be 100% creatively devoted to continuously being awake, aware, and ready to step beyond a seemingly safe, judgmental world. We must become the black sheep of this world if we are to be truly free. We cannot ever agree with anyone who says that some things are just 100% bad and nothing good at all will ever come out of it. We must stop all movement whenever any judgment arises. We must watch our thoughts and beliefs vigilantly. Be totally aware whenever the mind starts believing in some final truth. We must choose to do everything we can so that the ego cannot harden and cling to any opinions formed or thoughts containing right and wrong beliefs. This path takes some serious devotion. Blaming holds you in the energy of duality, of victim and abuser. Forgiving is a direct way to reclaiming your power and free yourself to love beyond judgment. Grace alone. Some people will tell you how this universe is not already in a perfect design. They might try to make you believe that you should only get what you want and nothing else. Now, this seems like the ideal situation to be in, right? Well, the spiritual awakening process is always much deeper and more complex than it appears to be. If the universe was set up this way, the great mystery would be gone. We should never know what a block, problem, pain, or failure was like, we would be without direction, feel perpetually numb, and have no longing to dig deep inside our souls to find our life's mission, creativity, and spiritual path. This universe is already set up in the most intelligent manner. It's designed so that we can get a good, solid taste of suffering, anxiety, or inner turmoil and use it to awaken with whenever we go unconscious and forget the divine, all-intelligent universe is everywhere around us. We instantly suffer. Whenever we allow the mind to form any judgment and register only one side of reality, our problems begin. This universe loves us so much that it does not want us to live in any lie. So it wakes us up with a little stress, anxiety, or emotional pain. We don't stop and drop our judgments, another level of suffering will soon manifest. This pain is our most perfect and most loving teacher. And by welcoming it fully, we are led back to our real state of love, enlightenment, and freedom. Do not delude yourself by imagining your source to be some God outside you. Your source is within yourself. Give yourself up to it. Seek the source within. Merge with it. Marana Rishi. We live in a world that ignores the fact that a supreme, divine, all-loving intelligence lives within us. We've been programmed to believe we are spiritually disconnected and must fix our broken selves to feel whole and reconnected again. We do not realize it, yet we are just used to feeling spiritually numb, as we have been plagued every day of our lives by an overly materialistic society which is constantly seducing us with its glorified multi-billion-dollar hypnotic media programming. We have contracted a deep case of spiritual amnesia, and we have forgotten how to relax into our spiritual essence and find our own intimate connection with the divine. It's interesting because when you watch things without judgment through the heart-mind, you can see this. It isn't, it's not difficult to spot. And this everyday ignorance of our spiritual nature is the greatest lie mankind is living today. It is the cause of every moment of suffering each human being is currently, in this now moment, enduring. One may think this spiritual drought was created by mankind coincidentally and is not part of the grand divine design. Well, we all know that nothing is by coincidence or without purpose in this universe. This blind ignorance is within us all on purpose. so that we move more passionately towards a state of awakening. These intense levels of disconnection only drive us deeper inside ourselves to find our own soul. This lifetime, the one we're in right now, we have is meant to be a deeply enlightening experience. Is there anything, you may ask yourself, is there anything more important than knowing how to access your own direct personal connection to an all-powerful, deeply eternal loving source of highly intelligent creative energy that has the magical power to manifest anything your heart desires? There is nothing more vital to finding happiness in this life than knowing one's spiritual connection, and nothing more exciting than a proven way to access it, which works every time. Questions that we ask. You're asking the God that you are, was what you're doing. You're not asking a question as something else, okay, up there, out there. You're asking a question to the God that you are. So you say to yourself, what is stopping you from always being in communion with God? You. What is stopping you from being in communion with God? What is your relationship with the God that you are? What does it feel like when you're actually having a truly intimate connection with God? How often do you recognize and connect with the divine aspects of yourself? How is your life different when living with this connection versus without it? These are questions to ask you. You're asking yourself. You're not judging. And they're very impactful because you're asking you, the God that you are in that body, these questions. The longer you sit with these questions and feel into your answers, the deeper you will dig into your soul and eventually discover your spiritual connection. From time to time, I have people say to me, well, it's too late for me, right? Too late. Too old. I'm just kind of hanging out. I'll be leaving the body soon. Doesn't matter. Even if you feel you've wasted 75, 80, 90 years of your life on gluttonous, frivolous, mindless activities, feeling perpetually lost in a superficial life, the God source is still there, still here. The door to the divine is always open, and God is waiting for you to come in. When you take one step towards God, God will take 10 steps towards you. And it is really about any of us, all of us, making time. And you make time to redefine your relationship with the divine. And I guarantee you that your precious time will not be wasted. When you explore your own personal connection with the divine, you got to remember one thing. There's one thing that's very important. Always first look in your heart rather than your head. The head is full of ideas about what God is and is not. The head misses the real experience, feeling, and quality of godliness when the mind is quiet, still, single-pointed into the now. We can instantly find that deeply alive spiritual feeling inside. The God source already exists within the heart and at the core of our soul. As we relax into this place, a timeless, deeply eternal, loving, conscious energy moves into us and relaxes every cell and fiber of our very being. You may find that God is the most mysterious thing in this universe. Perhaps because it is the universe. God exists in everyone and everything, including those people you think are deeply disconnected. Have you wondered, how can such an amazing presence be so spatially close to us and still be so difficult to feel and see? It's like trying to look into our own eyes without a mirror. We look out at life through these tiny little black holes in our eyes, taking them for granted and not realizing they exist at all because they are so close to us. When something is too close to us, we are often unaware how truly precious it is. Same applies to noticing God. We are unaware of God until we take a step back and look deeper into our own reflection in the great mirror that is all around us. What does that mean? Everywhere you look, you're seeing reflections of you. Realization of the self is realization of God. It is not an experience of God. Rather, it is understanding that one is God. Ramana Maharishi. Now, this depends. You discover things as the years go by, and you explore and inquiry, and you make inquiries. And you find that it is much easier to connect with God by relating to it as an isness rather than an it. It's an isness, right? The God that we are within these bodies is an isness. The God that is within all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever is an isness rather than an it. God is more like a mysterious infinite energy than some fixed, stagnant entity. The great isness is instantly found when we stop and feel into this eternal quality, which feels like we are always and forever here now. The isness is our infinite nature. And this can only be experienced when we are living fully in the now. Exploring life from a relaxed, trusting connection. This divine isness is the most accepting, healing, forgiving energy any one of us could imagine. Any of us. This isness is the source of deep eternal love, which when even momentarily welcomed, we instantly feel the most profound ecstatic joy inside our heart. The knowing that we are eternal spiritual beings moves through us throughout the day, like a healing river of eternal liquid love. The very second we surrender our heart to just the idea of an eternally loving isness, we immediately find real peace, a sense of bliss, and a feeling of real satisfaction that cannot be compared. Knowing this isness is our basic nature. We start radiating like the sun. We start shining our own spiritual essence onto everyone in our life. The only reason that any of us may not feel, believe, and know that God is right here within the very center of our body, soul, and heart, right in this now, is because of one thing blocking the way. Our overly busy, demanding, controlling, and desiring mind. That's the only thing blocking the way. As long as the mind is wanting something, willing something, thinking it is lacking something, trying to reach a better place other than the great isness that's here now, we will easily miss our spiritual path. We will find ourselves living in thoughts about God instead of experiencing the real divinity. And if we get too lost in the head, we might end up walking into some highly intellectual, materialistic, and spiritually dry futures. The God source is infinitely complex, yet at the same time deeply simple. God is actually quite easy to experience. Trick is learning what it takes to fully be here now. To feel the divine isness, we must choose to first begin feeling whatever is up for us in this moment. Choosing to explore how we can let go of the mind and open ourselves up emotionally, feeling everything that is here now. And when we call off the mental search, looking for God out there, and simply feel into the core essence of our being, we find that we have been the ones who were hiding and protecting ourselves from the divine. God has always been here, is always here, radiating within every atom in existence. And as we drop deeper beneath the thinking mind and through our blocked emotions, we discover the greatest source of peace, silence, and stillness. This is where God abides. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. I'll join you in the meditation. I'll return to close us out. Remain still, relaxed into your body, focused on your breath rising and falling. There are no accidents or coincidences in this world. Nothing is by chance. It is all a reflection, indication, expression, manifestation of our body-mind's vibration. Your vibration is determined by the thoughts and feelings you choose to experience, which are also being sent out into this universe. Your body-mind is like a massive radio tower that emits a personal signature energy which is constantly being received by this universe. Positive feelings, thoughts create easy, healing, and satisfying experiences, while negative thoughts, feelings attract situations that leave us with a dark, lonely, and impoverished experience. For today, hold your attention on the most powerful vibration there is, love. Start by tuning your radio tower so it's working at 100% by practicing self-love. Love yourself no matter what happens today. This commitment releases all negative possible accidents from entering your vibrational field. You'll win every battle with pain, poverty, and failure. Imagine what it will be like to be self-loving and self-accepting for this next 24 hours. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night and the following morning. We will return here Friday, March 14, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call, and after 9:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our reverse aging health call, and all the rest. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times. No matter what's happening within you, nor outside of you. Open your heart. Allow the magic to flow in.